What up, YouTube? This is just a quick reminder that all my reactions will be live on Twitch. So if y'all want to see that, all y'all gotta do is subscribe to Tomtv Network on Twitch. It's right there, and it also is going to be down in the description below. And yeah, this is a quick reminder. You know what I'm saying? Just a quick reminder if you really mess with me or not. You feel me? And yeah, let's get straight into this video. Tom, cut it now. So we got, is Cooper Flagg really worth the hype? Do y'all really think Cooper Flagg is worth the hype? Like, let's be honest. Do y'all really think so? You know what I'm saying? So let's get to this video. Let's see. Let's see, is he really worth the hype or not?
When you're watching the beginnings of an all-time great talent, not just elite or exceptional talent, but the kind of player you could say appears once in a generation. Usually the signs are there.
Turn it up a little bit.
Acclaim at an early age, the masses becoming familiar with your name long before you even step foot on an NBA court, throw in a few viral performances, jaw-dropping physical gifts.
You know, before I actually start, you know what I'm saying, I just want to throw this out here. Cooper Flagg reclassified up to become an NBA. Like, he still could have been in high school. Like, he could have been graduating this year, just to let y'all know.
A Sports Illustrated cover,
just to mind
yourself a recipe for what can easily be assumed as the next great NBA superstar.
He's supposed to be graduating this year.
We are terrible at predicting truly generational talent. For every player that gets slapped with the label of being generational and lives up to it, there's about 10 more who don't even come close. But what do you call a player who was given the description of generational at 16 years old, went toe-to-toe with LeBron as a high schooler, and was projected to go first overall in the NBA draft 3 years before he was even eligible for the draft?
Did he just say toe-to-toe with LeBron James?
Of any recent NBA prospect, and up to this point has exceeded all of them. But even after becoming one of the most obvious first overall picks in recent draft history, some fans justifiably still have their doubts. Opinions ranging from he could be the greatest player of an entire era, all the way to he's one of the most overrated prospects we've seen recently.
I don't think he's gonna be overrated. Never mind. I think he's gonna be overrated because I feel like people got him as like he's gonna be like the next Jordan and like LeBron and like, you know what I'm saying, those like calibers, and like Durant. I mean, he can prove me wrong. He can prove me wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he's going to be in like that tier of like Paul George's and Damian Lillard's and what else? Like those tiers though, like I can't name another player, but like those type of tiers. Like he's going to be very great, you know what I'm saying? He might even win his team a champion, but I don't think that, like, as of right now, I don't think that he's going to be like LeBron level and like Jordan and like Kobe and Shaq. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just naming players, like not even his positions. I'm just naming like top of my dome, you know what I'm saying? But he can prove me wrong, you know what I'm saying? He can prove me wrong. Like, he's so early. Like, we can't predict none of that, so hopefully he proved me wrong. I hope he proved me wrong.
After missing on numerous alleged generational prospects in recent years, it's clear why some fans are hesitant to give such a hefty label to anyone. And yet some remain certain that Cooper is generational, which begs the question, what makes Cooper Flagg the transcendent talent some say he is? And is he really worth the hype? Or are some fans setting him up for the same exact fate other generational talents have suffered? To answer this question, we have to go back long before anyone even knew the name Cooper Flagg.
Okay. We like that. Let's get into it. Let's see it.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Whether you're looking
we don't
for concert
care. We don't care about no
SeatGeek
SeatGeek
at the game. SeatGeek has it all. The #1 rated ticketing app with.
All right, let's get it.
In December of 2021, a news publication out of Maine wrote a piece about a basketball prodigy who was starting to gain attention not just around the state, but around the country, describing him as a talent they had never seen before. A 6'7", supremely gifted 14-year-old. Local coaches and scouts knew immediately they were onto something special and early, because this would be one of the first mentions of the name Cooper Flagg, a freshman who had yet to play a single game of high school ball, who many agreed they had never seen the likes of. Over the next 2 years, Cooper quickly became a national headliner, transferring to Montverde Academy and rising up the high school rankings. By the end of his sophomore season, it became clear that Cooper was, in fact, a talent unlike anything else in the country. The secret,
bro, he don't even look like he's like a sophomore in high school for real, bro. Like
Cooper
that boy was
Flagg
hooping.
may just be
He
next
was
up.
really hooping.
A conversation that led to this. The first mention of Cooper Flagg not just as a great prospect, but as a generational prospect. This came out following a successful summer season where Flagg jumped up national rankings from a 5-star prospect to the consensus #1 player in the country in his class.
I mean,
like
he
many
earned
others
it.
before him, the towering propositions about
He
his
earned
game
it.
and what he might become began to ramp up. But being called generational isn't necessarily out of the norm for prospects of this caliber. However, what is out of the norm is the fact that this article was published on August 3rd, 2023, when Cooper
Was still in high school.
was just 16 years old. At the time, 3 years away from being draft eligible. His incredible physical tools and NBA readiness already putting him in conversations with prospects like LeBron, AD, Zion, and Wemby before he even started his junior season in high school. But turns out that junior season would never come, because just a week after getting compared to the best prospects of the 21st century, Cooper broke headlines when he decided to jump up a year and reclassify from the class of 2025 to the class of 2024. The result of Flagg jumping up a class and bypassing an entire season of basketball.
That's
he
crazy.
not only instantly became the #1 player in the country against players 1 to 2 years older than him, overnight, he became the favorite to be selected first overall in the 2025 NBA draft.
Which he
as
was.
a 16-year-old who had just finished his sophomore year of high school. The rankings were, of course, correct. Cooper was still so far ahead of his competition that he was a shoo-in for the High School National Player of the Year just a few games into that season.
Did he win it?
Projections this bullish and this early are so rare that we've only seen them a handful of times. Back in 2001, when NBA scouts were already saying a 16-year-old LeBron was a surefire #1 pick, and more recently with Victor Wembanyama, who was projected to be the first overall pick 2 years before he was eligible for the draft. Outside of these two truly once-in-a-generation talents, even the most sought-after prospects do not face these expectations this early in their basketball career. But it was in the following season where Cooper would face his biggest test yet. Prove that he was good enough to still dominate games at the college level. But before he even stepped foot on a college court, Cooper did what no high schooler had ever done before him. How do we know if Cooper Flagg will be able to play at the next level and compete against the best players in the world? Well, because he already played them.
I remember this game.
Last summer,
I remember
just
this game.
17 years old, Flagg was chosen to be a part of the
And that boy was hooping. Sorry for pausing.
USA men's
He was
select
hooping.
team, a team that would scrimmage LeBron, Steph, KD, and the rest of the Olympic team. A team that hadn't featured a non-NBA player in over a decade and had never featured a high school kid. Now, the best one could hope for this kid going toe-to-toe against the NBA's best is for him to just fit in, soak in the moment, make the right plays, and just not be a liability. Cooper didn't just fit in. He actually stood out. In a straw poll survey conducted by The Athletic following the training camp, players on the Olympic team were asked who they thought the best player on the men's select team was. The player who was chosen by unanimous decision was Cooper. A team loaded with some of the brightest young NBA talents, and it was
crazy.
the 17-year-old kid that played better than all of them. By the end of the
That's crazy. That's insane. And y'all can say it's just practice, blah, blah, blah. They wasn't going that hard. Still. That's nuts.
summer, Cooper had already checked off every generational box. He received national acclaim. He was way ahead of schedule in his frame and development to the point where it just wasn't even fair. He went from dominating his class to dominating the country to playing and holding his own against the best players in the world. And of course, he had earned the generational label. The next challenge in front of him was college, which at that point wasn't really a challenge at all. As the second youngest player in the entire country, Cooper immediately became the best player in college basketball, putting up 19, 7, and 4 a game as statistically the best offensive player in the country and a top 5 defensive player in the country. His measurables, defensive instincts, and polished offensive game
I didn't know he was moving like that.
To Jason Tatum, Scottie Pippen, and Kawhi Leonard. The kid played half of the season as a 17-year-old and won National Player of the Year. But to put into perspective just how incredible Cooper's freshman season at Duke was, here are the top 250 players in college basketball last season, represented by age on the x-axis and box plus minus on the y-axis. This chart represents the top 10% of all college basketball players this past season, and it tells the story of what NBA teams are looking for when assessing talent and who stands out amongst their peers. Up here are some of the best players in the country last season, the vast majority of them on the older end of college sports, 22, 23, even 24-year-olds. But the NBA isn't necessarily looking for the best prospects, they're looking for prospects with the most upside, young guys who have the highest ceiling. And this becomes clear if we highlight all 30 players selected in the first round of the 2025 NBA draft. All of these players had great seasons, but what really sets them apart from the other 2,400 collegiate players trying to get drafted is their youth. Look at the top picks in this year's draft, and all of them are much younger than their non-drafted counterparts. You could call this the draft zone, a recipe of being elite and extremely young, and landing here will greatly increase your odds of making it to the league. It's not just about being good, it's about being good early and having the potential to get a whole lot better. But if the best prospects in the country are here,
we seeing if Cooper Flagg is really worth the hype. You know Cooper Flagg, right? Nah, it's good. It's good. I just got on too, really. I was just, doing my intro. I seen you say hi. But I just it's Cooper Flagg is really worth it, the hype.
Where's Cooper Flagg?
That young kid who just got drafted.
You guys are not gonna believe this. He's up here, all by himself. A kid that was supposed to still be in high school as by far the best player in the country with the most upside. It is not a stretch to say Cooper Flagg is a generational talent. But here's the catch. Despite all of the incredible things he's done over the last few years, and his absurd NBA readiness at a young age and just how much upside he possesses, Cooper is not the exception. When LeBron came into the league, we had never seen a prospect quite like him up to that point. When Victor Wembanyama was drafted, we definitely had never seen a player like him before. In fact, I didn't even know a player like him was in the realm of possibility. But we have seen players, even recently, like Cooper Flagg, that were just as talented, just about as young, with games just as NBA ready as Flagg's is. And even when we think we know the recipe for a surefire megastar, history has shown us that oftentimes we don't know the difference between great talent and generational talent. Since 2000, there have been 12 players who were given the label of generational, from LeBron and Greg Oden to Zion and Wemby. Now, for many of these names, similar to Cooper Flagg, their title as generational was accepted, but not by everyone.
Cunningham is owning up to that generational.
2007, who truly did look like a once-in-a-generation big man coming out of college. Him getting selected over Kevin Durant is about all the evidence you need of that. Same with Zion Williamson in 2019.
Zion just want to F on P stars and eat a lot of hamburgers and French fries. He got his money and he don't want to play no more.
Incredibly hyped prospect with superstar
he could be good though. He could be good
though. Basketball for a season, but has been completely derailed thanks to injuries. 12 proclaimed generational prospects in 26 years, or about one projected generational talent every other year, is a gross overestimation not just of talent, but how often this kind of talent comes around. Among the true generational talents and the ones who had the potential to be one are the players who were thrown into a conversation they should have never been in. Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis are both incredible Hall of Famers, but still not quite generational. Andrew Wiggins and Ben Simmons looked the part, but fell short by about a mile. Believe it or not, even players like DeAndre Ayton and Cade Cunningham managed to earn the generational label leading up to the time they were drafted. Of these 12 players, one of them truly lived up to the lofty label, and another one is currently proving he was worthy of the label. The general public predicted 12, and we got 2.
I don't know. I feel like Cade Cunningham is proving that he's generational talent. For real. Generational? I mean, he built it ground up with the Pistons. What's going on?
No matter how many players we claim to be generational, turns out once in a generation truly means once in a generation. And with
like
Wemby
the Pistons got their point guard for like 5 years.
We may not be due for another generational talent for quite some time. What are the odds Cooper lives up to the absolute upper end of the ceiling people have placed on him? Well, no one actually knows. If what a player did leading up to the time of them being drafted told us who they would become in the league, then Zion, Ben Simmons, and Andrew Wiggins would be the face of the NBA right now. The inverse of this is also true. If pre-draft projections were any indication of who a player would eventually become, Giannis, Jokic, and Kawhi would have been written off years ago. We may have an idea of what a player might become, but that's it, an idea. Truth is, some of these once proclaimed generational talents didn't fail to meet their potential. It's likely that they were just never the once-in-a-generation talent some claimed them to be. All things indicate that Cooper Flagg could be a truly transcendent player in the league. Of course, that's if indication meant anything at all. Only time will tell what Cooper's true potential is and if he'll rise up and meet it.
Whoa, yeah. What y'all think, bro? Put in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Live stream, what y'all think? Do y'all really think Cooper Flagg gonna live up to his name? Hey, only time will tell. Let's get to the next video. We're gonna get to the next video.